Today we're going to be talking time management skills and tips. This topic comes from a YouTube viewer subscriber by the name of Damian Rockwell, who is starting an engineering degree in college and is also working a 5-day-a-week job from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Lord. And he wants to know how to manage productivity and all that stuff while balancing a college degree and a job. Man, so first and foremost, Damien, I have a ton of productivity videos, as does many YouTube channels and many websites. Thomas Frank is obviously one of the bigger ones who does this. He has a college productivity channel, or at least it started that way, which has millions of subscribers, far beyond my reach, and that's okay. He does a really great job in his sphere. And so I recommend checking him out and the others if you kind of want to go deeper. But I think I have a angle that's less gimmicky or hack or life hack oriented, because usually after I've tried to allow those life hacks, a lot of those gimmicks don't really survive that long-term effectiveness strategy. So although they're flashy, they get a lot of clicks, they don't always work. And I think Thomas Frank is someone who has solid principles, not just gimmicks. So that's why I recommend him. But there's so many other YouTubers that you can definitely check out. But I wanted to just let you know that first, because you can go to my channel and then hit the search function and search certain keywords like productivity, or go to my productivity playlist and there are dozens of videos already prepared for you. But I wanted to film this just because I think a lot of people miss that. They don't realize that. If you have a problem, question, I may have already answered it. And I just wanted to put out a fresh one just to make sure I have all my bases covered there. So first off, Damien, this is a tough situation. If you're basically working when you're not at school and clearly sacrificing sleep, that is a very tough situation. So while some people would jump straight into tips and tactics and just assume that this is a necessity, I do have to caution and start by saying that sometimes you do have to accept that there are only 24 hours in a day and there's only so much you can do. And sometimes that may mean you can't work 22 hours every day. Sure, you will be able to recover and make up for some of that sleep on the weekends, but for how long can you do that? Some people maybe a little longer than others, but it depends on how much time you're putting into school. If you're waking up at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and you're going to school from that to 6 to, let's say you finish at 3 p.m. early, and then you have 3 hours to do homework, study, then you get your job, and then you work until 2 a.m., 3 a.m., then you sleep for what, 3-4 hours. How could you possibly make up for a deficit of 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep per day on the weekends? You're basically going to be sleeping all weekend, and it'll be kind of a torturous cycle. So in your specific unique situation, that is a very much kind of overdose of things, and you might have to start adjusting the hours a bit, seeing if you can cut down on how frequently or how long you have that side job. Ask yourself if you really need that side job right now if you're in school. I admire the ambitious work ethic, but is that actually viable? And usually time will tell. Reality will tell you. You might say, oh, I could do it. And then 2 months later, you're like, I can't do it. And your body fails you. So keep that all in mind. Now, with all that being said, for me, I will tell you that at the peak of my college productivity, I was able to hold down a work-study side job, a full course load. I was also sitting in on some additional courses for fun in the business school. And then on top of that, I had an internship with the psychology department. And I was juggling all that. And then on top of that, I still had enough time for myself to study, do homework, and a little bit of time, maybe an hour or two per day, sometimes 3 hours per day, to just relax, have fun, and do what I want, exercise, and so on and so forth. So how is that possible? How could I combine all of that at once? Well, part of it's just math. It may seem like a lot, but when you break down the numbers, it may still be less than the amount of time that you are committing, Damien. Because for school, first off, the classes are optional. You don't have to attend. I still chose to attend, but um, that usually only takes up, let's say, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's just a block of 6 hours usually. And from there, you have the rest of the time for yourself. So my internship also really only required maybe 1 or 2 hours per day max. And so that still gets me to 5 p.m. and I'm good. Some days I won't even have the internship. And then you have the weekends, which were free. And then I had my side job, which also was only maybe 2 to 4 hours per day. And I had that ability to flex it up and down at my discretion. So sometimes I would just flex it down to maybe 4 hours a week, 5, 6 hours a week, rather than 12 hours a week. So, all that combined, plus also I think there was some flexibility with the internship, I was able to have all this time for myself to do what I want after, dedicating 2 to 4 hours studying. And so, really, some of it's numbers. You have to have rational, realistic numbers for yourself. And I think I did. But even then, I didn't sustain that forever. After about one semester, I believe, I was like, this is a bit too much. And I ended up relinquishing my internship. I assessed the situation and I didn't think I was really getting much anymore from the internship in terms of learning lessons. It was just a lot of grunt work over and over again at that point. So I ended up relinquishing that. I think it might have been the work. It might have been the work study first I relinquished because I was, gaining less from that. I can't remember, but I relinquished one of them, and that freed up more time to really drill down on study and homework. And so I don't think the intention is always to pack in so much of yourself that you feel stressed. And each person has a different tolerance for that. That's something that's almost a skill set, a muscle that you train. That tolerance for stress and how much you handle is something that you train, you push the comfort zone slowly but surely year after year. And so, other than realistic numbers and pushing that comfort zone and finding yours, what other tips do I have? Well, I think the biggest one is something that I've mentioned in various videos already, which is tracking every minute of your day. Get out a notepad, just a straight, journal, piece of paper, and track every minute of your day for an entire day. You can do this for a week. Most people are probably not even going to do one day because, it's daunting. For some people, it's a hassle. But for me, I was excited about it. I was very curious. And what you find is that you are a lot less productive than you think. You don't need any gimmicks or hacks or, throw on this social media blocker or use the Eisenhower matrix to really see how much time you waste when you do this strategy. And when I did it, I found, wow, I spent 12 minutes here on social media. Oh, an hour later, I went to the bathroom. That took 14 minutes. And because I took my time. Oh, and then I spent another 6 minutes on my phone that I didn't have to. And then, here I went off and did this thing, and that cost me another 13 minutes because I wanted to, talk to my friend or I needed to email someone. And then you realize when you tabulate and sum it all up, you're like, wow, 20% of my day went to social media, phone, electronic activities that were unnecessary. 15% went to errands and stuff. And then 20% went to goofing off here and there. It manifests in different ways for different people. I'm more of a person who had little bits pulled away here and there. So with that data, you realize, wow, I'm a lot less efficient than I thought. Now with you at the job, one thing with careers is that you clock in, you clock out. It doesn't really matter. That time, whether you're productive or not, they pay you for, right? But even in careers, I think there's some level of productivity, because if you could get all you need done in less of the time, then you can at least relax, feel less stressed, and then just relax for a bit. But for your own life, we're talking school, sleep, personal life. That's where you have a lot more control. And that's where things like social media, the internet, TV, food, friends and family, other distractions, parties, people who want to hang out with you, people that just pull you away because you want to have fun and interact with them. All these things play into it, and by just first becoming aware of it and then forming a plan, okay, this is what I'll do to minimize that, you're going to get a lot more out of your time. I guess the final tips, because this video is getting a little long here, is I think part of it comes down to passion, like it or not. I think I've seen a lot of people, myself included, who really at the end of the day, they've used a lot of productivity tips and they just hate their major. And if you hate your major, it's going to take you twice as long as other people, because you just don't like the work and it's always procrastinating because you hate it. And that's a sign that maybe you need to pursue your passion and maybe change majors or try something else. That's another part of it. And then the third thing is the trifecta. The trifecta is something that you will hear many times when you're in college. A lot of people bring it up, and that's this whole idea of there's three things, choose two of them: sleep, school, and social life. Now, I will have to say that there are some people I have met who have gotten all three, so you don't necessarily always have to choose. The people who get all three, I think, sometimes it's just a mixture of things, but usually it just comes down to really who they are as people. And those with all three, they just are able to manage that effectively. Okay, here's the time I'm going to dedicate to studying. They get it done in an efficient manner. Then they have a specific plan, and they effectively conduct that plan to do well socially. They join this club. It's a running club. They socialize. They make friends during it. The club ends at this time. Okay, back to studying, back to school. Okay, now it's this time. Go to sleep. So I think it is possible, and obviously there's many factors that play into it. There's some people who just have much more chill majors. They don't have a side job, and because of all that, they still have time for social life, and then when you look at people who fail and they only can get two of them or even just one of them, sometimes it just comes down to negligence. They're not really intentional about it. They're just very much, for example, more naturally party goers or people who like to have fun, and then they goof off and their grades slip a bit. But they get plenty of sleep, and they have a lot of fun, and their social life blooms. For them, it's about cleaning that up and separating it, because usually those people have the time, their majors and their commitments for that major aren't crazy and as hectic as yours, Damien, so that if they really just cleaned up their act, they could have got their grades together too. So at the end of the day, some of it really just comes down to simple math, adding and subtracting, because there's only 24 hours in a day, and you just have to track it. And that awareness, I think, is a big part of it. But then from there, it's about that game plan, and that's when various factors unique to yourself come into play that you have to pay attention to. How are you? How much can you tolerate in terms of work ethic? How much should you tolerate? What do you actually care about most? Is it this job, this side job, or is it really performing well and getting your grades up? And then what do you have to subtract if the time comes and you really are maximizing everything, which sometimes people do, other times people struggle with, and they're far from maximizing because they're wasting 30% of their time on social media and they're not realizing it. And so with all those together, I wish you the best of luck. Leave some comments in the comments below, helping our community, helping Damien out, If you have any tips yourself, anything that you found work, you've seen others work, please leave it below. Maybe we'll find some new tip, some new insight that could really benefit us all. Thanks for watching.